And here we are. Welcome back to the Richard Sophomore, where we never said that we're your host, Andy and CD. What is going on today? Yeah, you know it. You love it. We got another one. Mock Draft 4.0. Mock Draft 4.0 today. Yep, that's what we're talking about today. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of NFL draft cards, but guess what? It's coming up here in a couple days. All right, so we're gonna keep
hmm
pumping these out. You know, let us know if you guys want to keep us doing this alternating stuff. There might be a thing where we each have our own mock drafts. I'll have my mock draft. CD has his mock draft. Keep letting us know. We might do some day one or day two. Hey, which is which kind of guesses. We could have a lot of potential for a lot of these things going on here, but today we are just doing a straight up first round mock draft, alternating picks where I am selecting the odds and CD is selecting the evens. So I hope y'all are ready for this. If you guys like this content, make sure you like the video because that is a rule that we have around here. If you like the content, like the video. It's that simple. Okay. Make sure you guys also, if you want to hear more stuff, look, come for the NFL draft, stay for the college football content, as CD always says. All right. Subscribe, please. We're at 240 right now, which is bonkers. By the time this is posted, it might even be more than that. Keep it coming. We love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let us know in the comments what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you're hearing. What are the tea leaves? You know, these top 30 visits, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think mean all that much if you're gonna ask my opinion. But nevertheless, there's always stuff coming out in these last couple weeks, a lot of smoke here and there. We'll also have best bets coming out soon. But yeah, CD, how's it going, man?
Nothing much. Excited to get back to it. We are so close to the actual NFL draft. We love pumping this out while we can. Hope you guys are as excited as we are for the NFL draft. Because it's the best part because it's like the blend of college football and NFL, and like we've been watching these guys for 3, 4 years and sometimes even longer back in high school, and to see them have one of the happiest days of their lives, it's really exciting. And the mystery and the drama of all of it is exciting, and like every fan base is hopeful, right? You see the big C there. As a Bears fan, like you're gonna feel hopeful, no matter what happens. Like you're just gonna convince yourself that hey, we got it this year, and that's the beauty of draft season.
Absolutely. And if you haven't checked out our last mock draft videos, make sure you check those out. Last time we had some nutty trades. We had some pretty
hmm
nutty trades, some interesting selections. I think I had Jonathan Brooks going in the first round of the Cowboys. They just signed Royce Freeman. I know that video is going out. The video came out just after Royce Freeman signed with the Cowboys, but I promise you that we recorded it before. So
hmm
uh, that will not be the case today. All right, we will not be mock drafting Jonathan Brooks to the Cowboys. Unless CD wants to, but I have a feeling that he likes, even if you want to take a running back, he likes a couple other running backs better. So, but yeah,
Jalen
I mean,
Lowby,
Dylan Lowry. Yeah, if you haven't seen our day three draft sleepers, make sure you check those out as well. So, anyway, CD, you ready to get into it?
let's do it.
I'll start us off today. Won't waste anyone's time. Caleb Williams. I mean, to the Bears. I mean, this is what it is. This has kind of been a long time coming, and Bears fans, you're looking at two of them right now. And I mean, I'm pretty excited. I know CD's pretty excited. Yeah, I mean it. This is set in stone, guys. So like, this is the this is the most confident I am about any pick in this entire mock draft.
Yeah, and that leads me to two with the Commanders out of Washington. This one is confusing because this is where the draft really starts, right? And 2 months ago, 2, 3 months ago, I was like, oh, the number two pick is obviously gonna be Drake May. There's gonna be an actual conversation between May and Williams for the 1 and 2, and now there's a ton of intrigue in this pick. Jaden Daniels is there. There's Vikings and teams that want to trade up. Number two, maybe the Commanders don't get along with Daniels. I don't know. It's all smokescreen. You know that it's draft season. Take it with a grain of salt, but I'm gonna kind of switch it up here. We did Drake May last mock draft, and I would take Drake May for the record, but I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels here for the Commanders. Continue that Cliff Kingsbury um pipeline, I guess, in terms of what he wants in a quarterback. And Daniels obviously very talented himself. Heisman Trophy winner. You know him.
Yeah, one kind of storyline that I was looking at. A lot of people talking about the Cliff Kingsbury. Jaden Daniels kind of fits the system. The other storyline, you know, it felt like it was pretty early to dish off Sam Howell, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Like, is that because they didn't want some awkwardness in the locker room? from
Two
former
former North
teammates?
Carolina guys.
I don't
I
know.
guess so. That's interesting to watch. And yeah, that was I don't know why. Yeah, but regardless, they're interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. That leaves me at three. I will take Sam Howell's teammate from former teammate from North Carolina. I will take Drake May. I think if Drake May's on the board here, I think the Patriots can't pass him up. I think in some years, Drake May is the number one overall quarterback taken in this draft class, in his draft class. I don't think there's any reason that he should go three, but he might. And if he does, I think the Patriots are sticking and picking at three. I think there's a chance that the Patriots trade back more so than the Commanders. I think the Commanders are for sure staying at two and picking a quarterback. Patriots could trade back, but I don't think they do if Drake May's there, man. I don't think they do.
Yeah, I think that makes too much sense there. To get Drake May at three and at four, we've had this pick kind of been thrown around a bunch. The Cardinals have been a very popular trade up or trade down partner, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm gonna just stick and pick here and kind of go Marvin Harrison. I think they're gonna realize that there's a separation between him and everyone else in this class, and you desperately need an alpha wide receiver on your team to help Kyler Murray compete. And you know he loves his big body D Hop. Remember all he did with him. And even yeah, so give me Marvin Harrison at number four to the Cardinals.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it might be too expensive, for some of these teams to move up for the fourth best quarterback in this draft class, and a lot of these teams that need quarterbacks have to move up a lot of spots. So it could get pretty expensive for the Cardinals, especially because they have Marvin Harrison Jr., the generational wide receiver of this draft class, probably the best prospect. You could argue Caleb Williams is the best draft prospect as well, but this would make a lot of sense. Plus, the Cardinals have another first round draft pick as well, so there's not a lot of uh, pressure necessarily to trade back, and feel like you're missing out on other talent in the rest of the first round because they do have one at 27. So
Yep.
look, we've been mocking this pretty much every single mock draft. I'm gonna do it again. Gonna put the Vikings. They're trading up with the Chargers at 5, and they're gonna have to give up a lot. But I would imagine that they actually have to give up both their first round draft picks this year. Would you agree with me on that? Because they're trading up for a quarterback into the top 5.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that the Chargers would want 11 and 23.
Yeah, and probably like another day 3 pick. Maybe they have to try. Dude, I don't know. Like, I don't know how a lot of these trades are valued, and you never know like what kind of bidding war is going on in the background. It's going to drive these bargains. Like, there could be another first round in here. There could be another. Well, they don't have another second round this year or next year, but you don't know. You really don't know. But uh, the only thing that's going to affect this mock draft is 11 and 23 are going to be traded. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we are going to take course, JJ McCarthy, as we've done pretty much every single mock draft to the Vikings. It just feels like that's kind of what we're headed towards. And I don't know what the odds are on FanDuel or DraftKings for JJ McCarthy to go to the Vikings, but I would imagine it is not very steep.
No, it's pretty interesting there because no secret that the Vikings they loaded up that second round pick. And so a lot going on here with that, obviously. So we'll see. Yeah, I love that for the Vikings. Obviously, there's a lot of holes on that Chargers roster. Jim Harbaugh's coming in there to fix some things and to get his guys there. And I think the people that he wants on the board, he can get them later on. And I think he'll be very happy with that. At number six, the Giants here, another very common pick. Gonna go Malik Neighbors. I think it's kind of settling in exactly what it's gonna be. I think Joel, you really have to consider if you don't believe in Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas, but
You
I
believe
think
in
Malik
Andrew
Neighbors,
Thomas.
but I'm saying like the duo there. Evan Neal, you can always kick in the guard, but I think Neighbors is just too high a position of need. I think you can make do with the tackles you have. Malik Neighbors is a game changer for you. He goes at 6 to the Giants.
Yeah, and I've heard people say that Malik Neighbors is not that far off from Marvin Harrison Jr., which I would say this. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is in the tier of zone. I also like Rome Odunze a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we've mocked this a lot of times. I think to the Giants here, and it just makes too much sense. There's a huge need at wide receiver that they have not had elite talent at wide receiver. I mean, you either have to
James Odell.
you if you look at all of the elite wide receivers, like probably the top like 15 paid wide receivers in the league, you will see all of them were either drafted by their original team or they were traded for, with the exception of maybe Christian Kirk for the Jaguars. That is it. So if you want a good elite wide receiver, you have to draft one. I mean, they tried signing one. They tried signing Kenny Galladay. It did not work. It did not work. You have to uh either trade or draft a wide receiver. So Malik Neighbors definitely fits that bill at 7. Titans, make it easy. We've done it multiple times. Joe friggin' stinking Alt. Big old stinky 6'8" guy. Dude, this guy's awesome. He's a very, very good talent. He's got better size than any other tackle in this draft class, except maybe Emeritus Mims. But even this, he's taller, right? Is he not taller than Emeritus Mims? Or they're the same size?
I think they're about the same. I think they're 6'7", 3/4, 5.
Yeah.
It's the same. They're
Or
basically the same
six
height.
eight. I think they're 6'8". Either way, Joe Alt, very polished in the run game as well as the pass game, anchors well, very good athlete. I think he's the clear number one tackle in this draft class. The Titans need one really stinking bad. They got a new offensive line coach. It's going to go really well with Joe Alt. Fade me. Fade me, Joe Alt to the Titans.
Yeah, they love that there. The fact that he fell to 7 in a class, it's just a weird class with 4 quarterbacks that are going to probably top 5, top 6, right? And then Marvin Harrison. And so like there's 5, prospects that are just by default ahead of Joe Alden. That's no shot at him at all. This is a very, very good draft class, especially in the top of the first round.
Yeah.
Number
And Joe
8,
Alt, real quick, he's minus 175 to go number 7 to the Titans.
which is crazy because I mean, I don't think it's crazy that the Chargers stick and pick him. I don't think it's crazy that the Cardinals would stick and pick him, and even the Giants. Like I think like Marvin Harrison, everyone thinks is a blue chip prospect, and he is. But I think Joe Alt, in some people's eyes, I think he has to be right there because he can be a really good tackle right away in the league, and with the upside to be an elite one, which is obviously very hard to find. Number 8, the Falcons, like I said, obviously just signed Kirk Cousins. They've done some things in free agency. Darnell Mooney, Rondell Moore. They have got some weapons offensively. I mean, Robert Dunze, very talented player on the board right now. Quinion Mitchell, but those are two positions you don't necessarily need. D line is where I focus on, and maybe even offensive line. But again, you're pretty well. This is a pretty well constructed roster. It's just been missing that quarterback, and obviously being able to use those offensive weapons. So I guess I'm gonna go Dallas Turner here. I was a very popular one. I think he fits. I think he ends up being edge number 1 in this class just because of the traits and the upside he brings at the position that you just cannot teach at all, and you believe that you can develop him and turn him into a monster. And he already is, by the way, very, very good. Very, very good against the run. Very smart, intelligent player. Obviously a fierce competitor. Just ask some quarterbacks in the SEC what he's done to them.
Just ask
Uh,
Quinn Ewers, Jaden Daniels.
et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, Dallas Turner 8 to the Falcons.
Yeah, I like that. I think it depends on what you're looking for in an edge rusher, right? If you need a elite polished pass rusher, I think Laiatu Latu is probably the most refined pass rusher in this class. If you're looking for, probably your highest floor guy, I would say Jared Verse is pretty high floor. But Dallas Turner, his upside, his length, his speed, he could be really, really, really stinking good. He could be
It,
really
it's
stinking good.
it's build a player. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, if you could ask GMs, build an edge rusher and what he looks like, what his athletic tools are, it's Dallas Turner. And then you just got to coach it up and obviously unlock and get the best out of it.
Absolutely. I 1000% agree. Now for the Bears, there are a lot of routes that you can go here. And look, they have 2 elite wide receivers. There's nothing wrong with getting a third. I stinking love Rome Odunze. However, I do think you need an unbelievable defensive lineman. And I see multiple on the board here. But I'm going to go with my interior defensive lineman number 1. I'm going to go with Byron Murphy here. I think he's really good. He's not like gigantic in size. I think he's only 6 feet tall, but he is so good against the run. It is nuts. It is nuts. And with the improvement that we saw in the young Bears secondary last year, it, being able to stop the run up the middle, right, with Byron Murphy, and then as well as that core of linebackers that was pretty effective last year, that would be very, very valuable. Not to mention he's a decent pass rusher as well. Not as good of a pass rusher as Josiah Newton, but Byron Murphy is a very, very stinking good interior defensive lineman, and I would be definitely okay as a Bears fan putting a Longhorn in a Bears uniform. As an Aggie and a Bears fan, I would be okay. I mean, it's business, right? I'll take Byron
Yeah,
Murphy if he's going to get the job done.
you have to. And positional value, I think like some people are like, oh, interior defensive lineman in top 10. No, like look at this NFL offseason. Look where the NFL is heading. You
Look where the
need
money
guys that can
went.
play all three downs. All these guys got getting paid right now. Very happy for all of them. Byron Murphy is next in that elite group. And by the way, there's a reason why like there's two of them in this class, which is by the way unheard of. Mostly there's maybe one every couple years. Like it's not very often you come around these guys. And obviously I know they invested in it that position last year. So you know it's important to Ryan Poles. Javon Dexter, you saw some nice things. Zach Pickens is still to be desired, but I also think these guys do different things. And that's the
Every
beauty.
single one of them. Every single one of them
Exactly.
does
And
different
so
things.
Eberflus can get the best out of them. Yeah, I love that. And as a Bears fan as well, pretty darn happy. Number 10 to the Jets. This one's interesting here. I mean, with the way the board falls, you're thinking maybe a Dunze. You're thinking offensive line. You're thinking, I mean, maybe Brock Bowers' time is it here? I think you go with Dunze here and just keep loading up on Aaron Rodgers. I like what they did in the offseason, beefing up that offensive line, kind of figuring that stuff out. I think he can last with the guys that are there, even if they don't stay healthy. I think get some depth as well, which is why I'm gonna go Roma Dunze and just give you an awesome set of wide receivers. And by the way, Mike Williams, you bring him in, but he's also had massive injury problems in his past. And so like he's not guaranteed to get a full season. It's also a 1 year deal. It's not a future long-term thing. I think if he hits this year, he's probably gonna go elsewhere and get paid as well, similar to the Hollywood Brown and Chiefs deal. So yeah, we'll see. But Garrett Wilson and Dunze and Mike Williams is just an awesome, awesome threat.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Um, for the Chargers here, this is interesting. I mean, we've talked about, I know you love the idea of Brock Bowers here, but they signed Will Disley and Hayden Hurst. They still got Donald Parham on that team. Not to say that Brock Bowers isn't an elite talent, but there are some other needs here for the Chargers. Definitely some other needs. And I think one of those needs is low key corner. I mean, Christian Fulton is there. If you're down here at 11, right? Quinyon Mitchell is my favorite corner in this draft class. It might not be close. I think if you get the athletic profile of Quinyon Mitchell plus the pedigree plus the production, I mean, you're getting a really good player. And yeah, sure, they signed Christian Fulton in the offseason, but I think Quinyon Mitchell is pretty special, man. I think he's a top 10 player in this class. He just might not go top 10 because there's some offensive needs for teams, right? It's an offensive league. Okay, that's just what it is. So I'm gonna take Quinyon Mitchell at 11 for the Chargers. We have not mocked that yet. So we have not mocked that scenario yet, but it could happen. So we're gonna have it here today.
Yeah, I love that for them. At number 12, and I guess 13 here, but I'm picking at 12 for the Broncos. You got two teams that are really looking to trade up, or at least they need quarterback pretty badly. And they also have a bunch of holes elsewhere on their roster. So it's pretty tough to pick for them with the way the board falls as well. I'm looking for a guy that you know is going to be a good player. I mean, the Broncos, you don't have a ton of picks, so you have to hit on these guys and at positions of need and positions of value as well to get the best out of you. Sean Payton, I'm sure, is not sitting around waiting for a rebuild to really happen. I think he wants to get this thing going. I'm gonna go Latu Latu. Like you said, most polished pass rusher, unbelievable stuff, counters, rips, everything you want in a pass rusher. Technically, he has, and also not to mention, very good athletic profile as well. At 12 to the Broncos.
Yeah, I love it. Leatu Latu, I love him. If he went to the Falcons, I would blame the Falcons. If he goes to the Bears, I wouldn't blame the Bears for taking him. He is so good. And a couple mock drafts we've had him slipping, but that happens. Say the same thing happened to Jermaine Johnson a couple years ago at Florida State. Um, they, sometimes you slip. It just is what it
It
is. Sometimes
happens.
that's how the board falls. But I'm glad that we have him higher in this one. Looking at the Raiders now, man, this this is an interesting one because I my issue is that they have a lot of issues. Okay. And when I'm looking at the board right here, it's like I don't know if there are going to be teams that are willing to trade up in this spot because there are still a ton of tackles on the board, right? There is really like one like first round edge rusher for the most part. You could see a team trade up for an edge that really needs one, but I think I'm just going to stick and pick here with the Raiders. And I'm going to have them. I think I'm going to have them going higher. No, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, give me Fuanga right here. Tackle out
Yep.
of Oregon State. Here's the thing about him. Sure, he could be a great right tackle for you, but he could be an all-pro guard as well. And I don't love when people say that all the time because, like it just feels like every good tackle could just slide down and play guard. But the way that Fuanga profiles, like he is an absolute mauler in the run game. Mauler in the run game. I don't think he's insanely long either. Like I don't think he has the best arm length of some of these other guys. Like he definitely doesn't have the arm length of Amarius Mims or JC Latham, but I think he could play either one. And I think there's a couple holes there on the offensive line for the Raiders. Feed me Fuanga from Oregon State to the Raiders.
I love that. That's the right pick. I'm gonna also go O line here for the Saints. They do need some tackle help. Trevor Penning, I don't know if he's the future there for you from a former first round pick, I believe out of Northern Iowa, and then also Ryan Ramczyk is really battling some injuries. Hope he gets that right. But I do know Mickey Loomis and the Saints, they do put a premium on offensive linemen. Like they really value that position in the first and second round. I'm gonna go Troy Fontenot here over Olu Fashanu. I think Troy Fontenot, what he brings is, first of all, super high floor. I would be shocked if this guy is a bust just because his technician, his experience, everything you want about him, his quick feet, all that good stuff. And then also, I think he like you said, and we hate to always do this, but there is flexibility with guard too, where if Trevor Penning turns a corner this offseason and Ryan Ramczyk is healthy, you can stick him in on guard here and he could play really well for you. And then also eventually kick back out the tackle once Ramczyk or Penning is out of there. But or if someone gets hurt or whatnot. That's why I love the versatility that he brings. Start him at left tackle, see how it goes and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all, man. I do not hate that at all. You got the Colts here. Look, what does Chris Ballard love of out of players? What does he love?
Height, weight, speed.
Height, weight, speed. You got a couple guys on the board here that kind of fit that profile, but one, which we've been mocking, stands out above the rest. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go a different direction, one that we haven't gone. We have not taken him this early, but he actually has a has a better athletic profile than Brian Thomas Jr. Just about. They're pretty equivalent. I'm going to take A.D. Mitchell at 15
Wow.
instead of the late first round that we've always been taking him. He's going to go here, slip in A.D. Mitchell alongside Michael Pittman Jr. And all of a sudden, like, I think A.D. Mitchell is potentially a top 20 player in this draft class. And yet, I don't know necessarily why everyone's been mocking him so late. So I'm going to mock him in the top 15 this time. We're going to leave Brian Thomas Jr. on the sidelines. Because look, if you look at Brian Thomas Jr., he was really good, but so was A.D. Mitchell. Like, to me, they are very similar players, man. And I don't know. I don't know. I think A.D. Mitchell actually might be more versatile. I think he's a better route runner than Brian Thomas is.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Um, I love that though. I think Eddie Mitchell also has the potential to be just an alpha wide receiver in this league. He has the tools, like you said. He's like 6'4", 4'3", 4'4" speed. Like he's incredible, obviously, and obviously the Colts pairing him with Michael Pittman would be awesome, and also using Anthony Richardson's arm to your advantage, which again, if he stays healthy, is really nice. At 16 to Seattle, they've had some changes this offseason. Obviously, Mike McDonald comes over from the Ravens, replacing Pete Carroll. Ryan Grubb, you bring in from the college ranks over also next door from Seattle and UW. They have a lot of needs here, especially on the interior O line. I don't know if I want to take a guy like that so early. I'm thinking JC Latham, I'm thinking Graham Barton, guys that I believe are probably better guards than they are tackles. I think it's a little bit too early for Jackson Powers Johnson at this point. And our last mock draft, we had him trade back with the Dolphins, who came up and got Byron Murphy, who slipped. Obviously, this one he's down, he's gone at 9. A lot you can do here. Um, yeah, there's a pretty good roster. I mean, got some holes, but obviously, yeah, it's not too bad. And obviously, they're trying to compete for a playoff spot this season. I guess I'll Yeah, give me Johnny Newton here in the interior. I know they got Jaron Reed. I know you got Draymond Jones. You signed Jonathan Hankins. Those guys are not, I don't think, game changers, right? All Pro Bowl level defensive linemen. Obviously, with the pass rush that Newton brings, you got Boy Mafe off the side who's really emerged this past season as well. And you pairing him up with Leonard Williams on the inside. I mean, that's really really dangerous. And what you can do there to really get after the pass rusher, the quarterbacks in a division where you got the Rams and Matthew Stafford. You got the Cardinals and Kyler Murray. Obviously, San Francisco loves to do things, especially in the run game. Um, yeah, Johnny Newton to 16 to Seattle.
I like that a lot. I really do. It kind of leaves me in a precarious position here because I would have considered taking Jerzon Newton for the Jaguars here at 17. At 17, like you got definitely interior offensive lineman needs for the Jaguars. You could say that they need, DBs. I know uh Jaguars like their athletic freaks. A lot of the first round cornerbacks though are aside from Quinyon Mitchell are don't necessarily blow the RAS scores off the roof. I am gonna go Terry Arnold here though. I'm gonna go Terry Arnold here for the Jaguars. Just a good player, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, really, really good athlete. It's not like his RAS scores necessarily blowing anyone's doors off, but he's a good football player, really good athlete, great ball skills, great ball skills. And I think he will be a top 20 pick.
Yeah, I think what Balky can, or the scouts can convince Balky of is that like he not doesn't necessarily like, got a 4.5, right? Like that's not burners, but what he does is he's just such a fluid athlete, and they do love their athletes. Maybe not testing well like some of these other corners did, but yeah, like you said, yeah, absolutely fluid, really good athlete, and uses that technician to his advantage. At number 18, the Bengals. You can go a couple different ways here. I'm just not gonna let Brian Thomas Jr. fall anymore. I mean, you see him there. I think again that LSU pipeline. I hate to say it, but it to pair him up with Jamar Chase, and obviously you don't know about the future of T. Higgins. I know he wants to be a Bengal, but I do think even if he does stay along, that trio would be just awesome to watch. And I think again, Brian Thomas Jr. is just too good to fall past 18 here.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, he's really good. He's really. I know. I was talking up AD Mitchell and I was talking down on Brian Thomas Jr. a little bit, but Brian Thomas Jr. is really good. He's got the recruiting pedigree. He has the production. He's got the size and the speed and the athleticism and the body control and the ball skills. He's got everything you're looking for in a wide receiver. And the first round hit rate of wide receivers, it's actually pretty high relative to a lot of other positions, I think. So if you're gonna take a shot on a receiver, I think this is a guy you can definitely take a shot on in the first round. Which leaves me with the Rams. Oh boy. I think I'm gonna go tackle here. And I think I'm gonna go Amarius Mims. Is that crazy? I love Amarius Mims. I think he's so good. Now, is he exactly what Sean Payton wants? Or sorry, not Sean Payton, Sean McVay. Might he like a guy like Troy Fontenot a little bit better? Maybe a guy that moves a little bit more, but something about Amarius Mims, dude, that I just love, man. I just love. And people are like, oh, he hasn't played a ton of snaps, right? He's only played 600 snaps. I think that's his strength. Like the fact that he has shown this well on film and he's got the size and the athleticism and the arm length, and he's shown it that he's got an anchor as well, and he's got pretty decent technique, and he's only played 600 snaps. I think this could be an absolute home run pick for a lot of teams. He should be going in the top 20. He should be going in the top 20. I like him as much as I like Broderick Jones last year. You know, I think he's that good, man. I think he could be that good.
I would say I would put him a little bit higher in terms of upside wise. Obviously, Broderick Jones also has very high upside as well. But yeah, Mims is just one of one. Then the Rams, obviously, their first round pick in a long time. I think they'd be pretty happy with Mims at 19. At 20, the Steelers, I'm going to go all line again. And this reminiscence of Joey Porter a year ago, another Penn State Nittany Lion falling to him. And here's Olu Fashanu, who went 7 in our last mock draft. But the way the board fell, there he is at 20 available for you. And you
Wait, I thought
can
you
kick
had.
out.
Did you not have Fashanu to the Saints at 14?
No, I took Troy Fontenot.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Troy Fontenot. Sorry. Yeah, Olu Fashanu is going to be the pick here at 20 for the Steelers. You can kick Dan Moore inside if you want, or maybe a swing tackle for you. And yeah, and you pair obviously two young tackles and Broderick Jones like that just mentioned, and Olu on the left side, and really give Russell Wilson and Justin Fields or whoever your quarterback is a nice, anchors on both sides.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, he's so polished in the pass game, dude. He's so polished. I think there's I think it is a real concern though. Like it is a real concern that he's not uh, that good in the run game. I think it is. Like part of the huge problem for that Penn State offense last year, like we thought it was going to be a strength of their team was running the ball, and it was not. It really
Hmm.
was not. Um, Drew Aller had to win that game for them against Indiana. It was not the run game, you know. So something I know some people are higher, a lot higher than him. I happen to be a little bit lower. Like I think that this is where he should go. Like I think this is an appropriate spot for him to go at. Now we're looking at 21 with the Dolphins. This is really interesting because screw it. I think we're gonna go Brock Bowers here. We've had this before to the Dolphins, and we've had him slip like that, but just adding Brock Bowers to that offense would be nuts. It'd be nuts.
And
Would
they've
it not?
tried to use tight ends like that. Obviously, Mike McDaniels doesn't like that, and I think they signed. I want to say not Gerald Everett, but they signed Johnny Smith, I believe, and to kind of help with that. And
Yeah,
obviously, that's
he's
not a
he's
long
more of
term
a
answer.
he's more of a role player than like a tight end, like a true tight end,
What?
you know?
And Tyreek Hill's not going to be there forever. Jalen Waddle, had inconsistency health wise. Yeah, Brock Bowers, man, that would be incredible. And obviously, if you're the Chargers there at 23, you're sitting there thinking about trading up for Brock Bowers there, because I think that'd be another perfect mesh as well, to get him there at 23. But love that at 21 to the Dolphins. At 22, the Eagles commonly mock draft position is cornerback for them, and I think it makes a ton of sense, at least in my mind, because I mean you've drafted and signed really really well in your front seven, I think, right? You've done your Georgia factory up front, obviously, and even in the back end, got nice safeties. But Darius Slay, James Bradbury are getting old, like I've said before. Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo, I don't know if I trust them to be your starting corners in a division where the Giants just drafted Mike Neighbors. You've got the Commanders are drafting a quarterback. Obviously, the Cowboys have CeeDee Lamb. Like you're gonna have to cover some players and some passing offenses. And to me, this fits a lot. So I'm gonna go corner again. And obviously, I would have loved Terry Arnold to fall to you here. Um, maybe Cooper DeJean. But I think the value of Cooper DeJean is his versatility that he brings, and I don't think you quite need that with the Eagles. So I'm gonna go Kool-Aid McKinstry over Nate Wiggins. I think he's just a little bit like kind of what Howie Roseman can deal with, where like he's gonna be a really, really good player, especially right away for you trying to compete. He's been playing a ton of snaps for Alabama for a while now. Part of the reason why Terran Arnold had his meteoric rise to, cornerback 2, cornerback 3 in this draft class was because nobody threw at Kool-Aid. They were throwing at Terran Arnold. He can show off his ball skills. and obviously he had the interceptions he had this and the production he had this season. And that's a testament to Clayton McKinstry, right? And obviously, like Terran Arnold, maybe not the best athlete in terms of RAS score or testing numbers, but still a really fluid athlete. I mean, he was returning punts for Alabama, and so obviously he's a pretty damn good athlete to be able to do that.
I agree 100%. So now you're sitting here at the Chargers at 23. We haven't made a lot of trades, and I'm still not going to make a trade. Like, and I'm trying to find situations to make trades because, like, what do you trade up for? You trade up for edges, you trade up for wide receivers, you trade up for quarterbacks, right? And feels like it's too early to take any of these quarterbacks right now. And it might be too early to take some of these wide receivers. There's some good ones on the board still, like if you're Buffalo and you're looking to trade up, like there's still some good ones on the board. Lions, Chiefs, guys that need receivers. Oh man, for the Chargers at 23, I already took a corner in Quinyon Mitchell. Jeez Louise, dude. Like, what? I don't even know, man. Like, is it too early to take Lad McConkey at 23? I think it might be. I think it might be.
I It's up
Or
to you.
one of my dude, Jared Verse is still on the board.
Yeah.
What are we even talking about here? What are we even talking about here? Yeah, I gotta go Jared Verse here at 23. Yeah. I mean, yes, you still got Joey Bosa, but Morgan Fox. I mean, Jared Verse is just a good football player, man. Like he could go as high as Dallas Turner and he could go as high as Leatu Latu, and he's sitting here at 23 for the Chargers. Yeah, thank you very much, says the Chargers.
Yeah, you got two edges that are pretty very high injury history, right? Like Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, and obviously they're getting older. I mean, they're not gonna have him forever. This is a very Jim Harbaugh-esque pick where like the value is there at a position of value that he values as well. You got to take him no matter what you have there on the roster. 24 to the Cowboys. Again, another team. You could think about Lad McConkey. I mean, wouldn't that be fun with CeeDee Lamb? But I think they do kind of similar things in their own way. I'm gonna go Jackson Powers Johnson here. Get you an interior guy on the offensive line. You can play him at center, you can play him at guard, give you that flexibility that you've had in a team in a franchise that is really high emphasis on on offensive linemen in general. And yeah, he's the next lineage of very good Cowboys offensive linemen.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And I'm going to stick on that trend, interior offensive lineman. And I'm going to do what you did in the last mock draft because I actually like it a lot. And I'm going to put Graham Barton over there from Duke. The left tackle for Duke could also play guard, could play center, man. Kind of that Elton Jenkins type guy. Like if you have two guys in the offensive line that you could play anywhere at a high level, like yeah, yeah, that could be a pretty dangerous offensive line. It makes it a lot easier to fill in pieces, as you're trying to build out a roster when you have two guys in the offensive line that can actually play anywhere, right?
hmm
So feed me Graham Barton from Duke to the Packers at 25.
At 26 here, the Bucks, again, another team that's kind of tough to pick for just because of what's left on the board, right? Maybe some corners, maybe some offensive linemen. I don't know if you necessarily need those positions, right? You have Jamal Dean, you have Zion McCollum you drafted last year. You've got some really good safeties, obviously Antoine Winfield. Would have loved if Johnny Newton would have fallen to you here, but I don't think that's going to happen. Not a lot you can do here. I mean, you could take Zach Fraser, but I do think it's a little rich for him in the first round. Again, you would have loved either Barton or Jackson Powers Johnson to fall to you. Man, here, you're not gonna go quarterback. You just signed Baker Mayfield to that extension. You could take, a twitchy edge like Chop Robinson, but you've done that before with Joe Tryon, Yaya Diaby as well. So again, another pretty tough team to draft for. I'm just gonna take some. Yeah, you just signed Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You don't really need Lad McConkey here. I'm gonna go Cooper DeJean and just figure it out. Once you have him on. You can play anywhere in that secondary and also give you immediate special teams impact. You're not drafting in the first round because of his special teams, but you're also, it's a plus. And you got a young, you can just figure it out there and just do whatever you want with him as a Swiss Army knife for Todd Bowles.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people mocking him to draft to the Packers too. I could definitely see that happening as well. Could definitely see that. I could see him going
Yeah.
higher. Like I think we've had him in the top 20 before, in one of our past mock drafts. He is that good of a football player. He is that good of a football player. Now we're looking at the Cardinals, who get this pick at 27 from Houston. Their trade last year when Houston traded up for Will Anderson. I mean, there's a need at corner. You just signed Sean Murphy Bunting. I get it, but there's definitely a need at corner. And I'm gonna go a little different here. I'm gonna say the Cardinals get scared of the injury history of Nate Wiggins, and I'm gonna say for this mock draft, this is my final mock draft. We like to change things up a little bit, consider all possibilities. And this Rakestraw Jr. from Missouri, you know, not your prototypical size. Well, he has good size, but he's not your prototypical athlete. He's just a really good coverage corner. He does a lot of things right, and this is a guy that could play a lot of years in the NFL just because he plays cornerback the right way, you know. And look, if you're the Cardinals, I would say because you have multiple picks, I would say there could be a chance that they take a shot at Nate Wiggins, and Nate Wiggins is really, really, really good. But I'm going to go with Ennis Rakestraw Jr. here just for this draft.
Yeah, you've seen these injury history corners like Caleb Farley, guys slip in the draft, and then maybe, he's been fine, but also like a little bit, maybe not the same player as he was in the past. So yeah, definitely cautiously optimistic. The Bills here, I mean, don't you have to go wide receiver here? And with Ladd McConkey on the board,
Yes.
I think he's if he's on the board, you just take him. Obviously, if he was gone, you would have some conversations about J.C. Latham or Nate Wiggins, maybe Tyler Nubin or whatnot, whatever you want to do there, um, elsewhere on your roster. But yeah, I think McConkey, he's the last one in my opinion, the true first round wide receivers in this class.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Now I'm over here with the Lions. You got a lot of options here, and they're going to jump for joy in that draft room when they see Nate Wiggins on the board. They're going to run that ticket
Ah,
to the desk, and they're going to take Nate Wiggins at corner because they thought that they might be getting Cooley McKinstry. They thought that they might have to take a receiver here or get Ennis Rakestraw, but they had Nate Wiggins higher on their board, and they're ecstatic to see him there at 29 somehow.
yeah, that was gonna be my pick for the Ravens there, at 30. So I kind of got to pivot here. It's a pretty darn good roster. I hate to say it. Wide receivers a need, but also not a valuable position in this offense. I mean, you've seen it time and time again. You have your one, Zay Flowers. I still like Bateman as a two, maybe a three. Nelson Aguilar does some nice things for you. Obviously, Mark Andrews and Lamar, and you sign Derrick Henry. Those are the focal points of your offense and a really good offensive line that you put a ton of interest in. I think right tackle would be a position of need, maybe. Daniel Falele. I don't know if you love him as the future for you, but I don't quite see Jason Latham being much better than Falele, and I think he's probably a better guard than he is a tackle. And I do think he's a little bit suspect at times against the run. And obviously, Baltimore Ravens, a very run heavy team, gonna want to continue to do that. I guess you kind of got to switch over to defense. I mean, you just signed Justin Matabuke. That's nice. You've got some nice edge rushers. Obviously, David Ajabo, Odafe Owe, two guys you've invested in, top first round picks or top round picks there. You saw Kyle Van Noy's back. Very, very good player. Obviously, your secondary is pretty damn good as well. I mean, there's kind of just talking to myself right now. I don't really know exactly what to do here for the Ravens. I mean, yeah, Wiggins would have been my guy. Even would have thought about Rick Shaw for you. You kind of got to scroll down the board a little bit. Yeah, man. You know what? No, I can't do that. Yeah, even because you got Roquan, you drafted Trenton Simpson last year. You don't really need I guess if you want to take Peyton Wilson or Edge Cooper, don't need that either. So that just leaves the best player available, and I guess you no. You know what? I'm gonna go Tyler Guyton here, the right tackle, a guy that you can develop. Right, he needs that. Obviously, I think we've done this before with Tyler Guyton, where you pair him with a very good uh defensive or another offensive lineman and just kind of mentor him. Obviously, Ronnie Stanley in this case. And also Stanley's had his injury history, so I guess if in a pinch, if you do need him, you have a first round tackle you can plug in there at left tackle. But that was a tough one with the way the board fell. Kind of all your guys are already off the board. I guess Tyler Guyton's a pretty good, consolation prize, I guess.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Here for the 49ers, I'm gonna go. I mean, JC Latham's still on the board. This is a draft and stash kind of guy. You know, draft him, stash him, move him to guard, do whatever you want to do. Let him develop a little bit more, and he could end up starting at right tackle for you potentially. Um, but I think more likely he would swing down the guard and probably have more value there. Uh, Even though he does have the size and the arm length to be a tackle, I think probably what's best for him is going to guard. He's got a really good anchor. I think he's solid, nice hands. Yeah, give me a Latham to the 49ers. It's kind of nuts because I think a lot of people have him higher than that. I'm not as high on Latham as I think a lot of people are. But
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a little curveball here. Yeah, I like the Latham pick for the Chiefs, man. Again, similar to the Ravens, not a ton of needs. A lot of players already off the board. Um, I'm gonna go. I think the pick here is gonna be cornerback, and then obviously you lose your stud corner over to Tennessee. You kind of got to replace him. I love McDuffie, but I want to keep him in the slot where he's at his best and really let him develop out in the interior there and shine in space. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Andrew Phillips out of Kentucky. This is a guy that has really nice
ooh,
blend of strength of size, speed, and physicality. I do think he's got some time to figure it out, but I do think that they're gonna fall in love with what he can do and the physicality that he brings at the cornerback position. And they've also done a really good job of developing corners for the Chiefs, and I think they can get the best out of him. And if I'm Andrew Phillips, this will be you might as well throw a dart at a guy at the end of the first round. The Chiefs throw a dart at a guy like Andrew Phillips. None of the corners left on the board. Some of them are more nickel guys. Some of them maybe not quite what you love and what you need for the Chiefs. So Andrew Phillips in the first round in our mock draft, kind of crazy.
and Ennis Show. We had an absolutely absurd amount of corners go in the first round here. That's nuts. We are going to save one last pick for the Panthers here, and that's going to go to a guy that we haven't talked about a lot. I'm going to give it to Xavier Legette. I think we've mocked a lot of different players to the Panthers, most all of them offensive players, whether they're offensive line or wide receiver. I think we've had Keon Coleman. I think we've had Jordan Morgan. Yeah, I'll take Xavier Legette, even though even though I like Ricky Pearsall probably more. I think Xavier Legette can definitely play X. He's absolutely got burners. He's got really good size. He's really good blocking in the run game. Just a good football player, man. And I think the Panthers need some help from Bryce Young for sure. And that's going to do it for our mock draft 4.0. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure if you like the content, like the video. It's easy. Hit that button. Bang. Right. Also, make sure you're subscribed as well if you want to be here for more content. Like CD always says, come for the NFL draft content, stay for the college football content. Isn't that right, CD?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you all the time. We keep growing. It's awesome. It's great. CD, you got anything for us on the way out?
No, like Matthew said, I hope you enjoyed the content. Get in the NFL draft. Very excited for that. But also, when that's done, like Matthew said, we're gonna have a lot of college football content coming out in the summer. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe, share the video, do all that good stuff. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this one.
Absolutely. And we'll see y'all in the next one.